chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
There we go. Got to unmute myself first of all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Sabrina Speaks. It is a pleasure to be here with you on this Tuesday. Let's get my links up. Yeah, you're hearing me now, I bet, right? Everybody's hearing me right now. Let me just copy these links here to get my people so that they can view us on the social media platforms. Yeah. It is a lovely Tuesday. So good to be back here with you again. Yes, after a fabulous weekend. I don't know about anybody else, but I had a blast. I caught up with friends. Just let me do this. I also caught up with family. And I even was ambassador, yes, to some first-time visitors visiting the Cayman Islands. Why am I not getting this? Not available right now. Yeah, there were some visitors visiting our shore, and I was more than happy to be an ambassador for them and for our islands, actually. And it was just amazing engaging with them and how excited they were to be here. And what was interesting is that, and a little disappointing all at the same time, was that where they were staying, they had no clue. Yeah, you heard me. They had no clue that it was Pirates Week. It was the taxi driver, kudos to their taxi driver, was telling them about all of the events that was going on. And they ended up right where I was hanging. And that was at Cabana. Yep, I was at Cabana, and they were there. And what was good, the Saturday night when they came back, they brought all other people from their resort. Yes, they brought other people. Let's do this. Stream URL. Okay, let me get this. They brought other people from their resort. Yeah, they were staying at Indigo, and they brought other people to Cabana, and they were so excited. My Instagram people, you can tell I'm not good at multitasking here. There we go. They brought other people along with them. Yeah, they brought other people, but it is a pleasure to be back here with you this afternoon. Yeah, I was blown over. But good morning to our global family. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. It's lovely to be back here with you on this lovely Tuesday after this long weekend. I was really filling time as I got a lot of this stuff. It's uploaded. Good. There we go. All right. Thank you. Making sure all of you can get us on all of the social media platforms. And yeah, the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, or participants, which is you. I know you guys love these segments where, unlike any topic is on the table today, you make the space, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It is not a substitute for professional legal or medical, not even financial advice. I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for your specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information shared here, presented here. Don't forget to like, share, and follow so you don't miss an episode. And that's why I was a little sidetracked, making sure you, hey, can actually keep up with us. I see you all commenting. That warms my heart because I know that we're reaching you and I'm not alone. It's amazing, the podcast world, how important it is for me to see your comments, for you to participate in the discussions as well. That's why I love sometimes when you call and you share exactly what's going on, because feel alone. Yeah, it's a little lonely sometimes, but I love your participation. No matter what, it makes this evening so much better and brighter that we are hitting the pavement running again. I know some of you may have gotten off to a little start where it's like, oh my God, it feels like Monday. Let me tell you what, it's Tuesday. Okay, one day closer to the weekend. But if you're loving, I don't know how your Tuesday is going, but I found it hard getting out of bed and I work from home. Yeah, I found it hard getting out of bed. Maybe you're recovering or you're out there in celebrating all of our heritage days. I could call them heritage days in our various districts. I noticed they're calling them district days now. But yesterday was out in Northside, and I'm seeing some image come out of Northside. They had the last of just ahead of this cold front that we're having here right now, what we call a good old northwester. Yes, but this weather is not helping, wanting to do much. Oh my God. I know us Caymanians, we don't love leaving home when the weather's like this. Oh my God, I'll be on financial assistance if it was always like that. But I know one thing, I am really, really, really enjoying the weather. And if you are too, this is what's going to happen in the night. It's going to be nice and chilly. It's going to be nice. Yes, here you have it. This evening's weather report. The synopsis calls for a cold front, which we're feeling right now, extending across the Cayman area, is expected to become stationary. Just stay for the rest of the year. And this cold front, or this front, is supported by isolated showers over the next 24 hours. An increased pressure gradient will continue to support strong winds and rough seas across the Cayman Islands. Now, radar imagery shows scattered showers in and around Cayman area drifting towards the southwest. Our forecast for tonight calls for continued cloudy to overcast skies with a 40% chance of showers. Now, the temperatures will fall to the low 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be northeast at 20 to 25 knots. Seas will be rough with wave heights of 8 to 10 feet. A marine watch is in effect, as you can see, just a color of that image that I have on the screen. Yeah, a marine watch is in effect. And tomorrow, the forecast for tomorrow calls for cloudy skies with the continued chance, a 40% chance of showers. Now, the temperature will rise to the low 80s. Winds will be east to northeast, 20 to 25 knots. Seas will be rough with wave heights of 8 to 10 feet. And that marine watch is also in effect for tomorrow. Now, for all of you fishermen, which I'm quite sure you will obey these marine watches, today, a low tide is expected for 10:38 this evening, and tomorrow, a high tide at 4:44 a.m. and a low at 10:37 a.m. tomorrow. We didn't see much sunshine today, but it's still going to set at 5:46 this evening. That's not too far from now. And tomorrow, sunrise. Not so sure how much of that you'll be seeing either, but it will rise at 6:32 in the morning. Now, the outlook calls for gradual, oh my God, decrease in winds and seas from Thursday morning. Isolated showers are also likely to continue over the next few days as remnant moisture from front boundary lingers across the Northwest Caribbean. So there you have it, guys. It's not going to be around for long. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm loving this weather. And for all of you who raised by grandparents who were seafarers or who knows the stories, you know that at the end of a hurricane season, when we get what we call our first northwester, or in this case, cold front, that it's a signal that our hurricane season pretty much has come to an end. But with the way the world is going and we see climate change and global warming, whether or not you believe it or not, we will trust what we have been accustomed to. But to say that we have not, as human beings, had an impact on our weather is an understatement. So we will just pray to the gods that this marks the end of any tropical systems like hurricanes, that sort of stuff for this year, and welcome in these nice fresh breezes. For all of those persons celebrating birthdays over the weekend, I know we did a little thing for you on Friday, but for those of you who had to have a public holiday like Desiree and all of those, you know, I want to Miss Moncrief. Yes, I saw her yesterday. Happy belated birthday to you guys. I hope that you had an enjoyable weekend. And for today, Deanne Bennett, we got people down in Roatan. I got family and friends down there. Happy birthday, Deanne. Yes. Happy birthday to you down there. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. But you are remembered here in the Cayman Islands on behalf of all of us here at Sabrina Speaks family. And definitely I'm going to take one for the bros that are here and the nieces and all that good stuff. Happy birthday. See, we did it public. Yeah, whatever, Connie. Whatever. Yeah. I see you, you brute. Well, Remembrance Day celebrations, that's a solemn time for the weekend, even though we celebrated Pirates Week. I found that image is of Mr. Banks. Yeah, that was on Sunday ceremony. That was Sunday ceremony or Remembrance Day. All the celebrations that are going on out there. Yeah, that is just one of them. But Connie, well, good evening. Yes, welcome back. I saw you were throwing a temper tantrum yesterday, Connie, wondering where we were, Sandra and I. We took a public holiday. We enjoyed the weekend too. What the heck are you going to do over the Christmas when we take a break? I saw your comments. Hope you had lots of fun. Yes, I did. I actually did. I'll tell you about it, but I just want to just acknowledge all of you guys for being here. I'll tell you about this weekend. Actually, it was pretty cool. I don't get out too often, but when I do, I live it up. Yes. Is it Lixie? Hello. Yeah. Wow. I think that is based on a statement that where they were at, they didn't know about it. The wife actually Googled things to do in the Cayman Islands, and it popped up. Bang. Pirates Week came up on her algorithms first, and she told her husband. And it was just by chance that even Cabana popped up, and their taxi driver dropped them there, and we just started engaging. But yeah, I'll go more into that. Wolfie, hi. How are you, my dear? Anne, good evening to you as well. Hope you had a nice weekend. And I know you could be enjoying this weather. Yeah, are you? Live happy. Hello, Sabrina. You are not in frame. Remove the rectangular template border. Oh, okay. We can't see you. Am I better now? Or is that because behind the scenes there's a new thing that is happening for those vertical and landscape? I think this is something that's happening. So I don't know if that's only on YouTube. Maybe that's on YouTube. So it's some new thing that the StreamYard has been doing, and I think it automatically it shows landscape. So I'm sorry about that. Live happy, but thank you. Let me try to see what I can do behind the scenes. Yeah, because you're on YouTube. Let's see what I can do here. Hide vertical. It automatically. Oh yeah. What a sapapas they would say. What a mess. I'm going to ask tech support behind the scene how you do this. Otherwise, I'll have to do this. That's a little better for all of my YouTube family. Yeah, let me just adjust. This is new. I'll just work this out. It is for those persons who are watching us on their phone, or for actually those persons who are watching us on their TV. So sometimes based on the link that we subscribe to, it'll say vertical or landscape. So I may look a little weird, only because this is the first time I'm using it. We're trying to get used to it, just to be able that we can accommodate no matter what service or devices you guys are using. Yeah. So it is a little bit better, but it's not perfect. I can manage for this episode to keep it like that, so that the vertical part of it, let me get all this fluff this side. And nothing changed. Okay, but I saw, okay, good. Thank you. Well, let's hope. Thank you for that feedback. I got YouTube. Okay, good. Thank you for that feedback. Yeah, because you're watching it on TV. This is probably somebody watching it on the phone. So it's giving two options. Thank you for that feedback, that somebody is watching us from home on their TV and it's perfect. And now I'm seeing the vertical one. Yeah, there we go. Yep. Okay. So we're making sure that, we're making sure that we accommodate everybody here and that you have a wonderful experience. Hi, Marshall. How are you? I know you must be going through all sorts of stuff. Punta Gorda. Oh my God. Punta Gorda, Florida. They had temperatures of 39 degrees today. The Sunshine State. 39 degrees. Tell me about it. Yeah. That Punta Gorda, Florida. Yeah. They are 39. So I can only imagine what you're going through, Marshall. Oh my gosh. Yes. Connie, clears your throat. You're something else. But of course, without notice too, had me restarting my phone like a fool. What do you think, man, Connie? It's a long weekend. We got lives too, you know? Oh my gosh. Yeah, but it was a good weekend, I must say. I'm happy I went out. Yes, Connie, you're seeing me. I'm vertical. Good. All right. Well, we're just going to play with it as the experience gets better here. I'm hoping to have some nice background as well. Not only the back is going to change for the festive season. Yeah, Christmas. You can tell I love seasons. Also, we're going to try to get some stuff. So like you'll have the border that you'd see like Christmas for all of you who are in the festive season and all that sort of stuff. Even though we're going to take a little break, I'm going to take a little break leading up to it. It's not a channel, Annie. You can go on YouTube and you can look for the cmrtv.com and you can watch us on your TV if you have one of those TVs that you can. It's not like a TV channel. You just stream us and you can just, a lot of these Fire Stick, Firefox, I'm horrible at this stuff. But if you're able to like surf the internet and go on YouTube channels and stuff, you can watch us from your TV. A lot of these TVs now allow us to do it like that, Annie. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, just a recap of this weekend's festivities. I put this up, Remembrance Day out there at at the Emsley Memorial Church. We had all of our uniform services out there in parade wearing their best. And that was a moment for us to acknowledge, Fire Sticks, Firefox, one of them. Yep, Fire Stick. We had all of our uniform service all dressed, the regiment, the police, we had fire, we had the Boy Scouts and prison as well. They all look so fine in their uniforms. Yeah. And then each district and members of our government, they laid wreaths, and you had families and loved ones in the schools out there. This image that we have here is Mr. Banks, who is a veteran himself. And he had just laid his wreath and given his salute to all of those fallen soldiers. And this is a time that we remember them. And, I want to thank everybody for coming out, getting up early and showing our respects. And it was a good day. Nevertheless, it was a Sunday. Nothing was really happening in town, despite us hours before that had town just ripping up like you wouldn't believe it, as we welcomed in our pirates who has taken over our island. For all of you who are tuning in from around the world, and we know you're there, who has always heard about Pirates Week here and the celebrations in the Cayman Islands. they're taking over our island for this entire week. And I thought this picture was really, really nice of our Honorable Minister for Culture, Honorable Isaac Rankin. I thought that was really, really nice. You can see that he loves this and he's in character. Even the governor got into it and she was in full costume and everything. And she spoke and they captured her. And I thought it was really, really, she really interact with everybody. And the crowds, of course, continued to grow. You have the landing. You had some ladies that were performing some water acts. I can't recall what you called them. The name just slips me right now, getting there. But yeah, that eventually built. And then we had the float parade, as all of us take these things for granted. And there's a reason for me recapping all of this. What us as locals take for granted, let me tell you, those persons who just by chance decided to spend their money and made Cayman a destination of choice for whatever reason, they enjoyed it. And the couple that I bumped into at Cabana, they were staying at Indigo, and they didn't see anything about it or hear anything about it. It was the wife looking at things to do whilst here, and it popped up as the festivities were going on here in the Cayman Islands. Their taxi driver brought them to Cabana, and I was there after the show, of course, and we just started engaging. He was having their swanky with their little, it was an adult beverage, and he just went crazy for this drink. So much so that I knew what I was looking at with the drink, but how this gentleman was raving, I said, I wonder if Luigi put on something new for the menu, too, because we were expecting the pirates, the wenches to come through and make an appearance and just engage and all that sort of stuff. So as we waited for them, this gentleman was just going crazy over this drink. So I said, what is it? I don't know. He said some lemonade, something. I said, oh, swanky. And of course, the bartender looked at me and he says, yeah, it's our swanky. I'm like, what I did with it different, not to dismiss the gentleman who's just loving this drink, but it gave me an opportunity to tell him what he was drinking and the history behind it and how it filled in with our culinary delights. That then led into another conversation because he was seeing all that was happening on the waterfront. I think Pan in the City was going on in between Wholesome Bakery and that all building, which would be right across from Sandbar. And because they were dropped there, they sat down and they just panned out the area. And I was explaining to him what was going on and all that sort of stuff. If you saw how this gentleman and his wife lit up, they were here on their 3rd year wedding anniversary. And it's just by chance that they ended up being here over this weekend and all of these things were happening. And just explaining to him about Pirates Week and their festivities and all that sort of stuff, I felt so proud without actually saying who I was. We just got into that was irrelevant. It just was, I was so proud to sell my island and telling them about where the best place to go. It gave me the opportunity to let him know and see the different menu offerings at Cabana, which, by the way, when my aunt and I, the Saturday night, because he came back, when we went back, he brought friends from Indigo. And it was like 9 or 11 of them. Just he brought them because he had such a wonderful experience at Cabana that it was local. And Luigi just come. I swear at one point, Luigi probably thought he was with me Friday night, but I'm like, no, these are guests. But Luigi, upon entry, he just went fist bump. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. All enjoying the evening, yada, yada, yada. He came, he embraced me, all of the people that were with me. And it took him for a little while. This is the visitor and his wife. And he says, that must be the manager. And I smiled. I played it off because we were selling Cayman and all this sort of stuff. No BS, just real. He went through the menu and we were talking about all these other stuff and how they compared us to other jurisdictions that they had run in the Caribbean. And this was by far, so far, just by sitting there and engaging with me that Cayman is something unique. We're special. It was amazing. He figured it out afterwards that Luigi was actually the owner, but again, it floored him. Anyhow, they partook of grilled shrimp and they had some toast, but he was just over and beyond this swanky that was spiked. Anyhow, he left. They went over to Sandbar, and it was then I realized how much Caymanian-owned businesses remain along waterfront. And when you look at a true Caymanian experience, Cabana is really the only one outside of national events that is still giving you authentic Caymanian dining. When you walk in there, you see Caymanians, you can look at the menu, you can feel a Caymanian, their fried fish, their fritters, and all that sort of stuff. And Luigi, what he brings to the table, and for the record, this is an unsolicited plug for Cabana, and not because I frequent there. It all made sense between Friday night and Saturday night. When he went back to the resort, and got ready now to come out because we told them about the parade and the float parade and all of that sort of stuff. They enjoyed all of the events in town. And before going home to freshen up, guess where they came back? Cabana. But the wife, she picked me up first, despite me having on, did I have on a hat? I think I had on a cap. Anyhow, she picked me out immediately. And of course, he recognized, and they even asked for Eric. And they were just so happy to like, wow, we must be on an island when we go somewhere and we see somebody. And he was saying, he and his wife were talking when they got back to the resort and sharing their experience with their friends who they had only met at the resort, who decided to tag along. And they were like, we were speaking to that lady and it was as though we knew her for years. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're selling your island, when you're engaging with people that you got one shot at it, you put your egos aside. And for that entire engaging, that entire conversation, let me tell you something. I was proud to be Caymanian, to showcase our offerings, to be at a Caymanian-owned establishment that really, when you look at that menu, it reflected who we are. When you look at even how Luigi conducts himself, it reflects who we are. And then for all of the interaction and engagement then that I was able to do with this couple, they were hoping with the lockdowns in the US, their flight already was delayed. And we were telling them where else they had to go for Caribbean cuisine. The man did not want anything American. He was asking us for everything Caymanian. Where else could he really go and get good jerk chicken? Where else could he go and really taste Cayman? Is there something he could bottle it up? Well, it gave me an opportunity for me to tell him exactly how to make swanky as well. Even though I know he wouldn't have had civil orange, but I was able to tell him about the lime and the brown sugar. And of course, if he wants the kick that he got, he would choose his favorite dark rum of his choice and add it. But it's a choice. But it was just amazing, that experience for that couple enjoying their 3rd anniversary here. And it was a bit saddened. I was saddened to know that they were at a resort and there was nothing there to say, well, Pirates Week is happening. They were recommended to some of the restaurants along the 7 Mile corridor. And it was their interaction with their taxi that brought them to Cabana. And then their interaction with me that let them know in detail what was happening in town. That then allowed them to be repeat customers at Cabana. They took in the fireworks. They had dinner again. Eric even shared with them a gift certificate for, because they were asking for Italian food. And we shared a gift certificate that we had, or that he had, for Casanova, but we kept pushing, I'm going to call them out, peppers as well as another experience for jerk, like what he was asking for. But I encouraged them to go into town, to look at our artisans, look at the all of the display, the artifacts, and all of that sort of stuff. But we took in the fireworks. They had another meal again, and it was. Let me tell you something. I was really, really happy to have been Caymanian and to have been able to be that verse that I could have shared it. And they have faded in the sunset. I know for sure in this chapter to come back, because I don't know their name, but I remember the experience. We didn't even exchange names. We exchanged the experience. It didn't matter at that point who I was, what I did, I was Caymanian. My name didn't matter. He just knew that I was from here. He was introduced to everybody in my party. And then the next night, when he came back, he asked for my husband. Yeah. But we didn't, it was me saying Eric, like I had known him. And yeah, I just automatically did it. And it was just cool. So kudos to the staff and the management and staff of Cabana. Continue to do what you're doing. And we have a nugget here in Cayman that is something that we actually take for granted. And to be honest with you, when you grow up with something, you take it for granted. And I think many of us take these national events for granted because it has grown on us. But what we have to share, the product that we have to offer, the location, the diversity in our culinary expertise, the safety, the cleanliness, the no begging, is just amazing. We are a blessed jurisdiction, and we cannot downplay that at all. We can't, we shouldn't. They had went to Starfish Point, but they did say that they prefer the water on this side of the island, West Bay. And I kind of explained why, but they enjoyed it. And again, they were blessed to have engaged with everyone throughout their times so far, that they have only great things to say about Cayman. And I'm really happy for that experience, to be honest with you. And I had to share that with you because as we continue to embrace, whether or not you want to call them district days, what I did between Friday night and Saturday night with those people, that to me was heritage. That's who we are, even though, yes, it's in various districts. When I was telling them that, I actually said, you will see our culture, you will taste the dishes in our various districts. And like I told them, the national dish was turtle stew and different things. Of course, he gave me that kind of look. But it was something to still not shun away from. It's one's preference. And I made it a little funny by saying, you will know whether it's north side, like where you went, because I told them that their district days was Monday, and but they were supposed to fly back out on Monday. So I was telling him, you'd know whether or not they cook the best crab, who cooks the best lobster or turtle. And the smiles on their face was just amazing. I could tell you how engaging he was. The fireworks were going off and we didn't move. The man was just hungry for more about the Cayman culture and the cuisine. And then the wife joined in, and then all of their friends joined in. So that was pretty cool. My aunt was there as well. I introduced her to them, and she's also in retail on the waterfront. And it's amazing how she just lightened up when I said, I see, these people are hungry to meet us. We limit ourselves so much times when we go out and we just stick to ourselves. And all it takes is just saying hi. For me, I didn't even say hi. I'm like, what are you drinking? You would swear to man with me. I would just fast, to be honest. But that's all it took. And there, we got friends. Luigi got friends, and they're coming back. So, but again, my aunt did agree in the service industry that it is, they do want to engage and interact with locals. And I felt that this weekend is our opportunity to be proud. This week is our opportunity to really be proud of who we are as Caymanians, to showcase, to embrace our heritage, to even, you know, with our food. Don't be shy of talking about it. Don't don't just go out and, I'm not saying being all up in people's faces because you can read the room, but you can obviously tell that this couple were actually hungry to engage, to meet our own. So that was the experience. And oh, Saturday nights now, I hear Saturday nights at Cabana, they're going to be bringing back Soca nights. Yeah, Soca nights at Cabana on Saturday nights. So I'll be hearing more about that. And also, Tayman Thanksgiving weekend. Something is going to be great down there. So you got to keep it locked here. And I'll be sharing it with you at that experience. But yeah, hi, Miss Barbara G. How you doing, my love? Thank you, Connie Bonnie. I will do my best. That is who it is. Like I said, they left. One person was with me and it said, they're talking about Luigi de Una. I wonder if they realized that who you are. What would they say if they realized you were a former member? I'm like, that doesn't matter. I'm an ambassador, and that means more to me than anything else. But I could see from the perspective they were actually coming from. But that didn't matter at that time. What I did, what I do, what I've done. I was just so happy to share Cayman with them. Yeah, but it's good to have you here with us, Miss Barbara G. So the festivities continue tomorrow as we're talking about Heritage Day, District Day, whatever you want to label it as, but it's heritage for me. It's happening in West Bay today, and tomorrow, the 12th, is in Bodden Town. And then remember now, tomorrow is Wednesday. We got a short week. Don't get your days mixed up. So tomorrow is Wednesday, Bodden Town. Thursday, the 13th, is in Georgetown. That's their Georgetown Heritage Day, Cardinal Avenue. And Friday night, it's at the Heritage Park in East End. Yeah. So tomorrow now we will be at Nurse Jose's Center in Bodden Town for their Heritage Day. I see where the schools were actually entertaining the kids today with people dressed in costumes, and it should be nice about our schools. And I'm excited to hear what the Minister of Education had to say, that you have there, eventually you will see who we are, our culture in our schools, in all public schools. I will do the same request, please, of our Minister for Tourism, that it doesn't only have to be Pirates Week, culture festivities. I am going to implore the Minister of Tourism to try and do something with our hotel operators, condo operators, that even if it's from the Ministry of Tourism or the Tourism Attraction Board, whoever it is, Ministry of Tourism, make sure that a part of some of these things, that even if they have them there, but it's subtle at these resorts, that the people know what's happening local, especially for key national events, because it will amaze you how persons visiting our shores want to know these things. And it only takes a second to be able to do that. So yeah, but I'm happy to hear the Minister of Education saying that, you know, they're going to make sure in education that they're going to have moments where they actually showcase our culture, and you will see Cayman pride in our schools. So however that's going to unfold, we will wait for them to actually declare that, because you will realize today that the House was in session and they were supposed to debate the appropriation bill that was tabled. And that was the opportunity for, well, we expected, these cabinet ministers were expected to pretty much hopefully outline what they were going to do now, to explain that didn't happen. So when the Minister of Finance and Education got up to pretty much close the debate, only leader of the opposition and Miss Georgetown West, was it, or East, Mr. Roy, and I think Perlina got up to speak. And then the only one from government besides the minister who tabled the bill, which was Honorable Ralston Ebanks spoke, was Nicholas. And I thought that was an excellent time for all ministers to showcase what they were doing. And isn't that what an appropriation bill is all about? Good evening, caller. You're live on Sabrina Speaks. What's on your mind?
Good evening.
Hi.
Rallying back onto Pirates Week.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone remembers this, but back in the day, there was always an officially released Pirates Week T-shirt design.
Yes.
The-
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And aging myself now, I used to work at the original Holiday Inn where the Ritz-Carlton is now.
Mm-hmm.
And as a front desk clerk at those times, during Pirates Week, and like 2 or 3 days before Pirates Week itself started this holiday, because that time it started on a Saturday, never started on a Friday evening, right?
Right.
We were supposed to wear that Pirates Week T-shirt as our uniform. As a promotional piece to all the tourists that were checking in and staying with us. Opening the topic for them to ask, well, what's that about? Obviously, and for us to promote it so they could get out. And I think that we've just lost so much. It's really, really sad. But
I remember even the banks.
Push for sure.
Yeah, I remember even the banks used to have, there used to be like a competition where, or commercial locations in town could either do displays of Pirates Week, and then there would be like a competition where they would actually spark it. I can remember putting up street lights out in town that signal not only Pirates Week is here, but it kicked off Christmas, because after the Pirates Week festivities, those lights remained throughout Christmas. It was a sense of feeling. But you're quite right. There used to be a T-shirt design. I, running a business, purchased a lot of these T-shirts for Dress Down Day myself, so that my staff could wear for actually the entire week, because we were that proud to say, this is our heritage and let's all do it. Some businesses were relaxed, especially frontline staff, of course, that they were allowed to wear jeans and as long as the branding of the T-shirt for that year was being worn, it was fine. But I don't know why we're losing it. And it's not all gone, because we do have some people who are really into it, Tisha. And I really, we got to get it back. Just like what we're seeing with the businesses.
The lights was such a big part of our tradition. That's when, Cayman festive season has officially begun.
Yeah.
Because they stayed on. They never took them down.
They didn't take them down.
They stayed on until in the new year. But, and you mentioned earlier as well about the fact that they changed it from Heritage Days to District Days. And to me, okay, that's neither really here nor there. But one change, and they've changed the name of Color Farm a million times, as we all know. But I wish what they would actually do is change the name of Pirates Week to Cayman Culture Week or Cayman, because there is a stigma related with pirates or whatever. But I think we don't need it changing. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents for this evening.
Thank you. You just stirred that cocoa and you just added a lot of ingredients in there, you brute. But thank you for your contribution. Whether or not you think it should be changed from Pirates Week to Culture Week, does it take away from why it was labeled Pirates Week in the first place? When you're talking, even though it's a part of our history and all that sort of stuff, there was a reason behind that. Is why it was labeled like that. Hence, district days then were called heritage days. So, interesting. There have had many variances where it was only supposed to be consolidated over the long weekend because of weather. We can realize that it was during the time of the year. What it came about anyhow in the first place was to kickstart tourism after the season for summer. And that brought droves of people to our island. But we also had a lot more corporate persons as well. I saw back in the day, either sponsoring or being a part of it. I remember Cayman Airways used to have a float, used to have gold sponsors, that sort of stuff. We had our telecoms that were really out there, whoever would be the primary sponsor, whatever the case may be. I've seen that. Now, is it behind the scenes? The operational arm is not doing it early enough, because that could actually weigh the cost, where it's not 100% borne on government, but it's joint public-private partnerships in order to save our national event. But for something like this, and let me tell you, you don't appreciate how important national events of this nature are unless you're in the hospitality industry or operating a business on the waterfront. Let me just make it clear. No one has spoken to me. I'm just very observant, okay? And when you look at the drought that all restaurants, hospitality industry face during the summer, because we all go away and that sort of stuff, those who can afford it, some go away for the entire summer, but there are many who stay here and they participate in staycations. They actually sometimes will meet with family and friends and they go out, but the meager business that is made by those businesses on the waterfront, it's only a wing and a prayer. And that is what sparked Pirates Week to actually kickstart it back. But I can recall in an earlier episode where I was saying, we shouldn't just wait for the season to kickstart it again. In my humble opinion, despite us being threatened by hurricanes and all that sort of stuff during June to the end of November, if we want to keep our history and our heritage alive, why not put on something for those who don't travel? Kids are out of school. You'd probably find more persons participating in these events if we actually try to get people here when we say it's slow season. That's when you can target your stay over tourism or create an environment where people would want to come. Now, we understand we're dealing with weather, okay? We understand that. But a lot of the restaurants close. They do repairs and all that sort of stuff. If we can keep their tourism product, we're not going into the part about the port, but if we're saying we have to diversify, I think we need to look at something local that can capture a season for those in the hospitality industry all year round. Every one of those duty-free stores in town suffer as well. It's not just your restaurants and your resorts. Every one of those stores suffer as well. And I feel when you look at jurisdictions like Barbados, there is always something that's driving people there because they got their finger on the pulse when it comes to event and they embrace culture. Yeah. Now, a lot of attention probably was drawn there because of Cara Festa. That in itself brought droves of tourism there. But when you look at Barbados, and I know I got friends over there and we got people who are streaming even from Bermuda and all that sort of stuff that follows this podcast. When you look at other jurisdictions, yes, it's slow season, but let me tell you something. They become innovative, they become creative, and they embrace their culture. I think we have a lot of work to do, but it's not all lost. But it takes all of us to think, come around the table and think about, invite even some of these local businesses that have their businesses on the waterfront. What ideas that they could put forward to the table to keep it going, and just have it, be it, I don't know, for the 3 months, 4 months, but I think just leading up, and then that could build the momentum then to Pirates Week, Culture Week, caller, you can beat me up all you want. But yeah, that could be a buildup. I can remember as well, driving along the road and seeing all of the flags with Pirates Week on the light poles. I know you have to get permission from CUC, but again, private-public partnership because of safety concerns, right? I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of that. And this is by no means criticizing. This is just observation, hoping that it will spark an idea, capitalize on all of the businesses in town. You have an authentic location like Cabana. And I pretty much saw him lobbying for himself. Yeah. All the festivities are happening along town. And each year you look at where you're going to do the launch or the kickoff party and that sort of stuff. But you got one that you don't have to question Caribbean on the waterfront when it comes to food and ambiance. Their farm to table on Thursday nights is just amazing. And even that I was able to share with the guests. And it's just amazing. So I think there's a lot as childhood memories, and we can recall the cardboard boat race, I think, was canceled. I stand to be corrected for whatever reason. But it's like a lot of people didn't even realize that Pirates Week was this weekend. I know we're seeing a lot of stuff on social media and all that sort of stuff. I tried to get it out, but even communication with some of the businesses on the waterfront, they got it like 72 hours before launch time. Yeah. So this is not by any means criticizing. I think we all have a part to play here as Caymanians, but we have an excellent product. I think there are lots of ideas that we can do to not have a dead season or a slow season, cognizant that it is the rainy season for us as well. But think about those who don't travel or those who can't afford to go away for the entire summer. And that may be the time where you actually engage with more of your locals. I think it's going to take a joint partnership with government, hoteliers, restaurants, and artisans as well. We have a beautiful space in the center of town. We said we want to get life back in town and just have an opportunity where we do something big, be it Fridays or Saturday evenings that is family friendly, and just work on sponsorships that can do it. I think the time is now because everybody's feeling whatever's happening in the economy. It's creating possibly new opportunities. It's creating all of those persons who like to cook their food, like Miss Ruth and Miss Midgie and all of them, Blackie and all of them down in there that really looks forward for these foods. You got all of our people, all our cooks in East End and all of that. It creates that environment, to be honest. And I really think, I really think there's an opportunity that's being missed leading up. Like you should be hungry, just like you wait for Christmas, like a kid. You should be building up. And I don't know whose idea it was to not have the fireworks on Friday night. Yeah, my last caller. I know that you said it kicks off on Saturday, but I look forward for those Friday nights because it really kicked off the weekend. There was none. There was some fireworks in town, but I didn't get that was put on nationally. I know there's a cost implication for everything, but don't dilute our product. Don't dilute who we are. That's a huge national event. And I feel that if we want to do that, since we realize that no boats are coming, this is something that we could have taken advantage of. Yes. Let's look at some comments. Connie, I used to enjoy Pirates Week. I used to visit all the district's events for the food. Yeah, I can remember as a child just getting into the car with my family and driving to East End, driving to Boddentown. Many times you'd be all excited to get there, and the lines would be long to get into the Heritage Park to go, and you see the kids are jumping around. People are just enjoying all of the food and the music. And then I remember East End used to have bonfire. Yeah, East End was known for their bonfire, and that just elevated it to a different level. And then you would have local and international artists as well. So yeah, Pirates Well is watered down, not fun anymore. It doesn't have to die. I swear it doesn't have to die. When we see those people, like I was speaking about the interaction, we're going to be losing something huge, but it takes political will and it takes public participation as well. I would be most grateful if they could begin to fade out the pirates aspect and focus on our culture. Pirates are not something to boast about. Live happy, you have a point there, but we're hearing all the time as well that we are also fading out our culture, or we're diluting it, or it's being removed completely. I'll leave it up to the policy advisors to see exactly what part pirates actually plays in it. But if it depicts the event respectfully, I understand exactly what you say. And let's deal with that from a national perspective. But maybe it has to do big with the historical context of it, Live Happy, how it was born about in the first place. I can remember as kids, we used to wait at the road and used to wait for all the beads to be thrown out and the coins, the commemorative coins. And we could try to collect. You had the silver and you had the gold coins. And it was just amazing just seeing them throwing them from these floats. And that was something that you collect these items for. But yeah, it is a national debate. It should be something that we should discuss. But I love the celebration, whether you label it Pirates Week, whether you label it culture. It's one and same for me, to be honest. That's just my take on that. It should be called Cayman Islands National Festival. Simple as that. That's a good suggestion. But where does it weigh in nationally? And these are the discussions I feel that the Minister of Culture and stuff weigh in the earlier parts of their administration. And it's something that you could put out to the public, spark public discussion, just like what we're doing here. Whether or not you feel it should be removed from Pirates Week because of what pirate signifies, or you called it Culture Week. I think at the end of the day, if you're trying to get tourists, what would be most appealing? What would be most appealing to get persons interested here? And I think whether or not you call it Pirates Week or Cayman Islands National Festival, the marketing will be the key. Live Happy. The marketing, what you showcase, how you market it, how early in advance you start marketing it will be the key. Now, whether you have a captured scene or not, that removes that whole thing. We can still do the themed float parades. And remember when we used to do night parades? The same float parades that showed up on the landing on the day. They, at the end, so it's like Saturday night coming now at the end or the close off of Pirates Week, then those floats would be transformed into a lit. They would be full of lights, and that would go through the town. And I think they may have only had that 2 years, but that drew a different level of crowd as well. So maybe that's something that they could actually consider as well. Some of these district heritage day committees, though, were really struggling with continuity of volunteerism, craftsmanship, and just persons being able to assist. Now, whether or not it is something where these district committees should be actively doing stuff ahead of time, like having, there we go. There's an idea just popped in my head there. These district committees, Cultural Day, Heritage Day committees, they could be putting on district events and collecting monies to lead up to the whatever event we're going to call it. They could have different events, be it different concerts. You use your local artists. You have different events, be it walkathon, bikeathon. All proceeds for this go towards our Heritage Day festivities. Maybe you could have a teen jam. Maybe you can have a oldies but goodies. It's just the ideas are endless of what you can do instead of just sitting and waiting for the government grant, usually released days, if not weeks before the actual event. And then you're rushing to put together a float with a theme. You could be building this up: cake sales, food sales, fish fries, and that sort of stuff. These committees can do all of these things that in itself can bring traffic to their districts leading up to the big national event. So whether you want to call it Live Happy Cayman Islands National Festival, you could be very creative in having these events during the year as a matter of you being able to collect funds that could go towards the big event. And that in itself, participation at the schools, the nonprofit organizations, you could do like different wellness, fitness sessions. I don't know. But you get what I'm saying, right? You could have a sound clash with all of our DJs and stuff, and you get sponsors to sponsor the gifts for these DJs and rising stars. You can have a competition. You could have like a district heritage queen competition, and you get sponsored. Yeah, I'm going crazy, but yeah, you get it. See, it's not hard. It's really not hard. You just need everybody to participate. I didn't expect this today's episode to just be on Pirates Week, but you realize what a golden opportunity we're missing. We're really missing out on a golden opportunity. You can celebrate this pretty much all year round if you got the buy-in from the people. So if it fails, every Caymanian is responsible. I ain't gonna blame no government. I ain't gonna blame no politician. Every one of us will have to take responsibility if it fails. Every single one of us will have to take responsibility. Annie, I always looked forward to East End's Heritage Day. They had the best food. That's in your opinion. I'm a toss-up between Georgetown and West Bay. I'm being a bit biased because I'm from Georgetown. Oh yeah, I'm being a little biased. Annie. But we will see. There we go again. I love this feedback. You say East End has the best food. I say it's a toss-up between Georgetown and West Bay. Yeah, who could come for me for that one? Now, all the Northsiders got a thing for the crab. They say Northside got a best crab. I don't eat him, so I'm not going to even go there. But for me, it's Town and West Bay. Best food, Annie. So yeah, we down for that. I could take you on. Tisha and Dave Martin's, Dave Martin's legendary Pirates Week song is very much a part of the festive tradition as well. You know, the pirates having a party, the time is a month. Yeah, in Grand. Yeah, that should always be played on every station. Not only as a backdrop, but you should be hearing that rung in our airport. You should be hearing that rung in every hotel lobby at some point leading up to it. Tisha, I agree with you. Now, that is exactly, you could have different versions of it. With the steel pan, but not taking away from that signature piece of Mr. Dave Martin's song. Yeah, there are others as well. We got Mr. Purser Worms, was it him? We got Mr. Andy Martin too, that had couple. Barefoot Man as well. This is culture. That is who we are. We should be hearing all of that all during summer, like little drops of it. And then like for the entire month leading up, and definitely for the entire week, everywhere you go, you should be hearing, you should be feeling it, you should be tasting it. Like all of these restaurants should be having something, or traditional dishes like for this entire week. It shouldn't be like a signature dish, and it should be cooked like how we cook it. If it's going to be a meat dish or a side dish, be it a cornbread or something, I think every restaurant should showcase something cooked based on, or a drink. Yeah, like the swanky one from Cabana. But I think every restaurant for this week should have at least one dessert and one protein or a fish that is cooked traditionally Cayman way. I really feel that is embracing exactly who we are. And then maybe all the brunches that we go to as well leading up to this and this entire week, they should have just one place where it's like a Pirates Week or, oh God, Thatch Baskets or something. Whatever we ended up with the name, right? You should know that area, that stand, like how you have the carving station, you have the sushi. There should be a stand. Come to think of it, there should be a stand all the time for that. But definitely for this Heritage Week, you can see my emotion, my creativity goes crazy. Miss Rose, hi, my friend. Enjoying the weather. Me too, girl. I would be setting up a jerk stand if the weather were like this all the time. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's good to see you, Ms. Rose. East End and Georgetown, Connie says, yep. I say West Bay, Georgetown. So me and you have friends. We have friends. Oh, yes. Dave Martin and Steven says, Tartarian. Oh, hello. How are you, my dear? The festival needs 2 years of planning, not 3 months. Tartarian, that's the feedback that I'm getting. That's what I'm hearing. That even businesses, days, literally hours from kickoff was when they were aware. And this is multiple businesses of really what was going on. Yes, we have the schedule of events. We showcased them here. I shared it with you. They were on Sandra's show. But I agree with you. And like I said, the districts now can do something. You have a formulated NPO or you do something like that. Government can assist them with getting those committees. And you have an NPO where it actually outlines so that this NPO, for all of the monies to go back into the district events, will collect the monies and you have it run properly. Yeah, you have it run properly so that leading up to the event, you can actually have some monies in the kitties to help offset some of the overheads. And then when government gives these groups then additional money, then that's only sprinkles. That's like the toppings. I really feel it'll help. Everyone helps themselves. Barbara G, I designed and made a Pirates Week costume for East End. Guess what? We won that year? Oh, really? Oh, wow. Congratulations. What I noticed, though, with East End, they are huge on culture. Kendall Connor, hats goes off to you. And, the man that cooks from East End, too. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I can't remember his name. And Juanita and them, they are very, very competitive. East End. I remember seeing as a child that they had all caboose. And these were old days of float parades going through town. And they had the dry grupo hanging on a line. And you had the woman with the washboard and all that sort of stuff. And I could swear that year it was a structure that represented an outside toilet. And then you had another structure on the same float. And with the kitchen, it was quite unique. But you could actually, they had people walking along their East End float with a little cake plate. And you were actually had like a little piece of fish. And you had a little piece of fritter as well. And you were able, piece of cassava cake too. I remember that year. Maybe that's why I remember it. I was a wee little one still in school. And I remember that. And that is what we're used to. And that year, I think there was only like 1 or 2 points between them and West Bay. The competition has always been between West Bay and East End. I see where Boddentown and Northside now that I'm an adult and they're getting into it. But I feel that for years, the one to beat is that Bruder Kendall Connor and his crew. Kudos to them. They take it to a different level. I mean, the craftsmanship, their floats are like they're out of this world. And when you see them and West Bay in heritage, Mr. Alvin, thank you, Mr. Alvin. Oh, yeah. They take it. Mr. Alvin used to be in charge of their Pirates Week committee for years. And let me tell you something, you couldn't touch Heritage Day in East End. You couldn't touch them. Needless to say, you could barely win them. And they were just that good at putting together. And that should not be lost. It's all about succession planning. And kudos to Kendall Connor for taking it up. It looked like there was a transition between him and Mr. Alvin. And Kendall has stepped up to the plate. There are other young men and women who are also there in East End. Like we should be identifying these in all over our islands, all over our district. Like I think Dua Kelly too is very big, and Ms. Zita May in West Bay. all of they're huge in their districts. They love heritage, and I think they have a lot to bring to the table. Tartarian, I heard the young man that used to put on the festival queen contest was homeless and now lives in the UK. So sad. Oh, really? Oh, that's the one that's over there. Yeah, I think he was on social media. That's why things are falling apart. And plus, Menike Manions has passed. Yeah, so Tartarian, this is what I'm saying about succession planning, and kudos to Kendall Connor and Dewey Kelly and the Kelly family and Miss Zeta May and all of them for just trying to keep this alive. Yeah, it's pretty sad, but I think it's not all is lost, to be honest. Jasaria, yes, we had the old caboose at West Bay Scholars Park. That was the best spot ever. Remember, we had the stage. Yes, you did. You did have the stage and all. So the feelings that conversations like this evoke when we actually reminisce tells me it's not alive, that it's not dead, sorry, it's very much alive, and that not all is lost, and we can rebuild it. We can. Will it take some agitation? Will it take buy-in from our powers that be, or leaders? Will it take funding? Yes, it will, but we all have our part to play with it. I could even remember bike-a-thons as well. They used to do, if I'm not mistaken, bike-a-thons. But these are all ideas that you can do leading up to it, to put funds into the kitty leading up to the event. But yeah, those were the best days. But Mr. Alvin, big up to Mr. Alvin. How is he? How's he doing? And Midgie, she's still from town. Miss Ruth and all of them, I didn't get out there. Oh Lord, yeah. But don't worry, I'll be out there. I'll be out the Thursday. I'll be right there getting my plate. Yeah. So, guys, it's all of us. We got to keep this alive. And you can tell that the conversation now may not interest you. It may not be anything, but you will actually remember this podcast when you sit down and you reminisce of what we used to have. If you see it continue to deteriorate because maybe we can't decide on a name, what it will do to our product, what it will say about our culture. It says more about us as the people than anything else. And I don't think we can sit down and just let it die. No, we can't. We can't do that. There's no sense of this primary school children being all excited to go dressed in school in their traditional wear with their thatch baskets and their hats this week, let's say. And then we're missing it in the junior high and high and our college. It should be reflective in all schools, be it government or private. I feel it should be a reflection straight across the school. It is our national, it's who we are. That shouldn't be just, I know the minister can't mandate what private schools do, but I feel for something as important of this event, national culture, that sort of stuff, remove the pirate part and if I don't want for this conversation, but it is what it is. When it talks about our culture, I feel that should be strictly across our schools and all levels, and it should transition into college. That's my humble opinion on that. So yeah, there we go. I don't know how much of you actually tuned in today to the Parliament. It was pretty short, expecting a lot more to may have debated on the appropriations bill that was tabled and whether or not what this means. People, I saw where the opposition was a bit upset that they came pretty much, I guess, expecting to hear ministers speak. Or, well, in this case, it would be debate. So what it does is that it gives our ministers the opportunity then, like the Honorable Minister Nicholas DaCosta got up and spoke about all the things that falls under his ministry and what, it means. And I think not only the public, but I feel whether or not the opposition was waiting to hear exactly what was in there to possibly debate them. That's what it's all about. So you could hear them, whether or not you for the opposition or not. I think the country was actually expecting to hear exactly what was in this appropriations, at least something from each minister. This was the opportune time for you to give something, possibly like a to say, well, the allocation for my ministry is this, which of course when they go to finance committee you will hear it line by line. The honorable minister of finance did say that they will be speaking during finance committee, but I kind of raised an eyebrow there, because even though they're pointed questions that can be asked during the finance committee meeting, it's not delivering like how Minister Honorable DaCosta delivered it, because you can clearly hear exactly what he has outlined, how he's going to measure outputs, that sort of stuff, exactly what he's going to do. Now that speaks to exactly when they meet back in Parliament on Thursday, how it's going to be funded. So we talk about democracy, transparency, and accountability. If ministers remain silent, then it begs to question, does that signal disengagement or avoidance, which can actually often frustrate opposition and raises public doubts about transparency and accountability? But did this signal anything to you all at all as regular citizens of our country, why they haven't spoken? And pretty much in layman's terms, it looks like government doesn't want to explain. That's how it would appear, how the taxpayer money will be spent in, and the opposition has a right to be a bit aggrieved, because that's what it was for. Now, you can say that the government side has the numbers on the floor of Parliament, so it doesn't matter whether or not the opposition speaks, right? When they go to finance committee and they go through line by line, each ministry by each ministry, the opposition and the two independents have a right to question. And but it's not like it's a debate where you get 2 hours to explain and justify. Maybe it was a way of expedience as well, just to get to finance committee, why they didn't have each cabinet minister speak. Maybe a number of perceptions why they don't speak. It could be strategic, perception of avoidance, because silence could suggest that ministers are unwilling or unable to defend their budgets. I'm just saying. When they don't speak, you could be left with the point to say that there are transparency concerns, like citizens, everyday people may feel that they're excluded from understanding how the money is being managed, exactly what is being earmarked for this particular minister or ministry. And then you get what was displayed, whether or not you felt that the opposition had 8 years, 10 years, 13 years to do some of the things that they're asking for. Remember, in earlier podcasts that I said, earlier episodes, I said, when your elected representatives are on the floor of Parliament, they no longer have their voice. They are the voice of each and every one of you. Each minister is there in their capacity to represent every Caymanian. It's not just Georgetown Central, Bordentown West, East, North, Side, whatever. They're there in an elected capacity, right? And the frustration, I can understand it. MPs see debates as their constitutional right to hold government accountable. And if ministers don't engage, opposition can get angry and reflects concern that democracy is pretty much being weakened. So imagine what just played out for whatever reason. It could be strategic. It could be strategy. There is strategy in all of this, right? But imagine then your neighbors are asked to approve a community budget. And then the leaders propose spending on roads, schools, and healthcare. But when you ask them why certain projects cost so much, then they stay quiet. Only one or two will answer. To the public, it may feel that government doesn't want to explain where the money is going. To the opposition, who is there to oppose or to look at bipartisan ways where they can jointly agree to once it's in the best interest of the people. To the opposition, it feels like being shut out of the conversation, even though they were given 5 days to review the budget being proposed. That's just a bunch of numbers, but exactly context matters in this case, right? So they have a right to get irate because that's what the debate was for, that's the only tool they have to demand accountability from the sitting government. Whether or not the government pretty much has the majority, which in this case they do. So even if the opposition disagrees with something, the government's going to get this passed anyhow, right? Unless you, the public, says, look, something is wrong with this. We demand an explanation, whatever, right? They have the numbers. But when you look at the democratic principle of everything and the option of remaining silent, in this opinion, or the House, the floor of Parliament, debate is not optional. It's really a mechanism by which each elected official, whether they choose to do it or not, prove that they are serving the people and not just themselves. If they're pretty much dodging questions that could arise, that says a lot more. That should raise flags for every Caymanian. And again, if it's a matter of experience, then fine. But the type of questions that are targeted during the Finance Committee is not the same as a debate. And I stand to be corrected, but when you look at a balance and you're saying you're there for the people, this was an opportunity for them to really explain exactly what they would be going to Finance Committee to actually approve and hope they get funding and support from both sides of Parliament to fund us so that we can run. So what if the strategy is to ask questions during the Finance Committee? Yeah. And if that is the strategy, well, that's pretty crafty. And because when you look at the Finance Committee stage, which is, I said, they're going in on Thursday. What happened today is after the appropriation bill is tabled and debated, which really had very little debate. I couldn't even call that a debate, to be honest. In principle, it usually moves, which is what they're going to do now on Thursday, to Finance Committee stage. Now, this is where line by line scrutiny of the budget happens. And each ministry's allocation is examined and MPs can ask detailed questions. But that all depends on how far the questioning will go. And the speaker normally chairs Finance Committee. Yeah. So ministers are expected to answer then directly about their department, spending, their priorities, and also justification for each line item. So when you look at the question only strategy in this context, if cabinet ministers choose not to speak during general debate, but instead wait for Finance Committee stage, the tactical silence, which is what we're assuming, results in them avoiding broad political debate. And it pretty much narrows down, focus only on the technical answers when pressed. Okay. And that all depends on how much leeway the chairman of Finance Committee will give for further questions and supplementary questions and yada, 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 for you to be educated as to why these questions are being asked. Now, it could also be a way of, we're talking about silence, control of narrative. And pretty much by not volunteering speeches, which in my humble opinion is not volunteering speeches. It's letting the people know, as a minister, this is what is going to come out of my ministry once we get this budget approved. You already got the numbers. They already got the numbers of votes on the government side, okay? So that was an opportunity to, even though it may have drawn it out, concise, but give a quick overview of what's to come, right? But the control of narrative now in this perspective, not volunteering the speeches, the ministers pretty much can limit opportunities for opposition to challenge them on policy grounds. It's smart, reactive posture as well. Ministers only need to respond when asked. If the question's not asked, then there's nothing to respond to. And if they read out these speeches or what they're planning to do, rather than proactively explain their budgets. And you're not breaking it down line by line. It's just a quick overview, like what the Honorable Nicholas DaCosta did. That's what he did. Now, that's what I kind of expected from all of them in a consolidated format leading into Finance Committee. Now, when you look at the democratic implications from that, from the public's perspective, it can feel like the government is dodging accountability because debate is meant to be open and their opportunity to explain exactly to the public what's going on. And for the opposition, again, it leads to frustration, as I alluded to earlier on. And you can cuss them all they want. At the end of the day, they're elected and they're there. They are really the government in waiting. Whether or not you want to brand them the purple group, the green group, the whatever group, the PPM, whatever, they're doing their job when they're questioning. And debate pretty much from a democracy standpoint, while technically allowed, it actually weakens the spirit of transparency when they get silent. Because debate is supposed to be proactive, not just reactive. Yeah. So think of it like town hall meetings, pretty much, where the leaders present a budget but don't explain it. They sit quietly until citizens ask questions. And in this case, because they're on the floor of Parliament, unless you call up your MP tonight, how are you going to ask questions? Then they give short answers. That's what's going to happen, right? To the public, it looks like leaders don't want to talk unless forced. That's the perception. You can't say that about Nicholas because he actually spoke. To the opposition now, it feels again like pulling teeth. They may have gotten the numbers, but they don't have the context. It's like what Danny was saying about the immigration reform, that you got the law, but you don't have the regulations. Yeah, pretty much. So they have no drag answers out, and they don't have to drag answers out instead of hearing it clean and straight. So what is your take? Is silence a strategy or it's a weakness? Does waiting for finance pretty much committee respects procedure, or does it undermine democracy? These are some of the questions you should be asking about that stunt. And I'm saying that in the most respectful and polite way, to be honest. And how does this pretty much affect public trust in government spending? And what's your take? Should ministers be required to speak during debates, not just answer questions at a committee stage? Yeah, it will be interesting. How I sum it up, really, and in short, if they only engage, and that is, if ministers only engage at the finance committee stage, they're technically following procedure, but politically, they're avoiding accountability. Straight up. Opposition anger is their way of saying, don't just answer when concerned, explain yourselves up front. Because then that could make the whole committee questioning and long in-between questions and what you would say, like little blurbs before you get to the question. That could avoid all of that. That's what a debate is for. Yeah. So, let's see, Miss Barbara G. In my opinion, finance should be discussed between the two parties until they have worked out the best solutions. This government is at least speaking to the people, either in person or on CMR, where they can reach the majority. Thank you so much. Why were they debating on past failures? This government has only been in for a month and they are also making progress. Yeah, thank you for that. But what we're saying, Ms. Barbara, is that they're telling you what's coming. They're justifying in debating. I think the word debate probably is why they're probably leaving the questions, or maybe they're going to do it after a statement when, remember now the House is going to close for the Christmas holidays as well, and each person will actually have an opportunity to address their constituents, address and speak on the floor of Parliament. Let's say the debate is passed, and that may be their opportunity to say, thank you for going through, putting up with me for my silence, because we had to present this budget of 1.2 billion. And this is what me as the minister is going to be doing, and this is how it will benefit the people. And from the local level, meaning the constituency level, you're going to be seeing and hearing from me more now because we've gotten this out of the way, and I thank you for understanding. And then that's what they're going to do. Maybe that's what it is. They probably just want to get over the finance committee because they don't have no time to waste. They got a country to run and they want to get the money. It's out there so that we don't have a government shutdown like what we noticed in the United States. But the fact still remains, at the end of the day, yes, the government is new, and their budget, to be honest, Ms. Barbara G, only kicks in on the 1st of January. I've been saying that all along. For all of the promises made during the campaign and all that sort of stuff, and now they're being elected, this is their budget. This is what delivering on what they promised as a government looks like. So they're now having to fund it. What this discussion was about is funding what they promised was in the delivery of the strategic policy statement that we saw, where the Minister of Finance, Minister Ralston Anglin, and I think the preparer spoke on it. But in detail now that you're getting down to the finance committee stage now, because they now come up with true numbers, is where I think the context, Ms. Barbara G, was being expected to hear. But maybe they're waiting to roll it out post-approval, which approval of the budget, that is. But like I said, unless somebody crosses party lines or government lines, this sitting administration in the government has the majority numbers anyway. So I can't see them not being able to pass their budget because they have the numbers anyway. You understand? So it wouldn't have taken away, maybe for expediency, why they didn't speak, as I think many were expecting. Maybe that's why they didn't do it. I don't know. I can't speak on their behalf. But silence in this case may save time to avoid political drama, because we see how theatrical things can be. We can see sometimes where there is some bit of mudslinging in the most diplomatic way, because they're protected by parliamentary privileges. But as eloquent and as professional as the Minister of Finance can actually throw some punches back, it is the House of Parliament. It's adversarial. But what he has in his advantage, or the government as a whole, and I keep repeating this for emphasis, they have the numbers. They have the numbers. So even though it may save time by not speaking or having everybody speak, it undermines the very principle, like I said, of democracy, that citizens deserve to hear in plain terms how their money will be spent. You got that in a general caption from the Minister of Finance, general oversight with even the strategic policy statement. But context really matters when you hear it now from the relevant ministers, that their chief officers and staff now will compile based on the policies that they're given, and they will go in detail with it, is pretty much what that is. So, yeah. So Thursday, what is going to happen is that they will debate. Well, not debate. They will go into this finance committee. It is a sharp observation, and you pretty much go into this committee meeting of the power of dynamics and the majority rules versus the expectations of democratic accountability. And I'm quite sure that the relationships that we have on both sides of the aisle, that if there's something that pops off, that we have not become such a divisive uh, country where you would have elected members can't pick up the phone and ask for clarity. That's not who we are. I know that that has happened, and it is what it is. So if there's, let's say, some numbers that are just not making sense, I'm quite sure that our leaders are that mature enough that they would be able to pick up the phone and call the relevant minister or the Minister of Finance, Mr. Anglin, and to ask pointed questions for just clarity. That just helps everybody, in my humble opinion. And on Thursday now, that will examine exactly what's put forward by each ministry. Then you'll have the question time where the opposition MPs can ask specific pointed questions along about ministries and their spending. And then the ministerial duties as well. You know, ministers in this case must respond to these questions, and that's where you will have the ministerial team, like the chief officer, the finance persons, that sort of stuff. Even if they avoid speeches during this general time, they will have the staff there in order to hopefully be able to answer the questions. Let's say they're pointed questions that are being asked or that requires data or information, specific numbers. They may say, I will answer that in writing. That's where you miss out, because there are times, unless they include it in a wrap-up speech, sometimes you forget what the question was posed, and you will never probably get the answer. So, yeah. So, with the majority advantage of the sitting administration, the composition of this government right now, government control, it is, because this government holds the majority seats. So they can pass appropriation bill regardless of opposition objections. They can throw their balls in that playpen all they want. They can scream and shout, and they can go on the most because they have the numbers. The majority advantage is loud. And again, going back to the strategic silence with majority powers, ministers may actually feel less pressure to justify themselves because they know they got that relationship locked and nobody's going to sidetrack. Everybody's on the same page, and to justify themselves, knowing that votes are already secured and they have that buy-in of unity, that each one of them will not go outside. They're not swaying. They have put their differences aside and they're all one in the best interest of the people, Ms. Barbara, which brings stability to our country. It lessens instability. It sends a unified message to the world of our stability, our togetherness as a coalition government. It speaks that we can hold it together, and it shows mature way of running your country. So again, with this majority advantage, opposition can raise concerns. To be honest, nothing wrong with them raising concerns or making suggestions and all of that sort of stuff. But they cannot block the bill unless they sway public opinion strongly enough to pressure the government. That's pretty much it. So overall, there's a sense of, by far, gratitude. There's a sense of happiness when it comes to exactly how things are being ran right now. People are just wanting to get over this budget. And what you actually expect of them will play out in the next couple of days. And let's hope that we don't end up in a situation where which we can't unless somebody sways and go a different way, that we will have a clear cut finance committee stage meeting, goes back for the final reading and passed, and we all get on with our lives. And we can all go into the festive season knowing that our government has approved a budget that will have the operational arm of our government going. They will be able to fund projects, hopefully creating pathways where there will be no unemployed Caymanians, or opportunities, and the culture of certain organizations will change and give Caymanians an opportunity and they don't feel left behind. That is what it is. So that's where we are right now with what's happening. And efficiency is key. Publicity is also key in keeping the lines of communication open. And we can only expect good things from basically what was presented. And I'm quite sure that on other shows right here on the cmrtv.com platform, they will have an opportunity where you would dissect exactly what is being presented at some point. I feel that Sandra and I were speaking earlier on, and that they will actually address you at some point. But that is to be had anyhow, just moving forward. I think there's a lot, having gone through the two budgets, it's a lot at stake. It takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot of vigor, stamina, and understanding that everything you ask for sometimes will not necessarily be able to be delivered immediately, but eventually it will be. And as long as persons can see value for money at the end of the day for what you're funding to be able to deliver on the promise for your people, that will be key. So if you feel that you were expecting a little bit more debate, then that's something that you can have in a very private, candid conversation of your MPs. If you're fine with it, that's fine. The good thing is here, I'm just highlighting the events of today and just putting both sides on the table for you to understand. So the next episode of, or the next sitting, will be Finance Committee. And that is where hopefully that any concerns you may have had that could not be outlined there, will be asked in committee stage, in Finance Committee. Yeah, together we stand, divided we fall. This group seems to be united. Yeah, that's what I said, Miss Barbs. They seem to have it locked, and they're not going to be bullied or contrary to what is out there. That it doesn't help anybody, to be honest. It doesn't help us. It doesn't look good for us at all. So we want them to stick together. We want them to deliver, but we also want them to listen when the people is speaking as well. I think it is key that they remain central, and being able to engage and to ask simply. This is why we don't have a problem entertaining them here on these platforms, as they should on all platforms, be it themselves as your MPs, like how they find themselves out there campaigning. They should make themselves available to you when they're explaining. So I don't think anybody right now in their right mind would actually be wishing or hoping for their demise. That doesn't look good on us. And I can tell you this, I sure as heck not hoping for it. I hope they can keep it together. I'm praying that they will keep it together, so that we don't have to go through any foolishness. It is what it is. So yeah, let's make sure we can fund these projects, and that our Caymanians will feel a part, that there be policies that will be made out that allow them to get access to training, access to jobs, and Caymanians no longer feel behind, left out, or fallen behind, and that all the explanations that are given in the white paper for the immigration reform, that meets your satisfaction, and that it yields the results that you were asking for. So there's a lot of things at stake. We're at a critical and a turning point, I feel, in the Cayman Islands at this time. And at the end of the day, it's going to take us, just how the government, as Ms. Barbara alluded to, this that they seem united, seems to be united. That's how we all have to be, every last one of us. It doesn't matter what part of lines you're on right now, because if one fail, all fails. And hey, CE Banks, good evening to you, my love. How are you? I hope you're enjoying this weather. Late to class or late to commenting. But I hope you join in the conversation or just scroll back to see what we were talking about earlier. But yeah, I think that we're doing all of ourselves a disservice if it doesn't hold. And I just feel people just want to be a part of us growing as a community. People want to be respectful of a sustainable Cayman, sustainable in the fact where all views are respected for those who have a care and compassion about our environment that's going to weigh heavily on a route that's chosen for the road for the continuation of the east-west arterial continuation. I think that that is a huge factor of a delicate balance when you're looking at our environment and just having to build roads and infrastructure, keeping up with the infrastructure demands while being respectful to our environment. We're talking about climate change. We're seeing what Hurricane Melissa has done. We're seeing, oh my God, the devastation in the Philippines as well. We're seeing this Arctic blast right now that I'm grateful for. But they're seeing where historic records in the Sunshine State right now of Florida is, you're hearing it, that is linked to climate change. Hence the respect of honoring our Constitution for respecting our environment for futures and generations to come. And they're equally should be respected around the table no matter what comes afoot. So it's going to be very interesting for the trajectory of our Cayman Islands and where we go. And I'm hoping that this budget will be debated or questioned accordingly, and that you will get the answers that you're expecting. And I will tell you right now, between now and Thursday, if you have concerns, you have a right to reach out to your elected MP to ask the questions. You can send them a WhatsApp. I'm quite sure all of you will know how to get in contact with your representatives. WhatsApp them, text them, call them. Or if they have helpers, committee stage people that you have to go through layers and layers of people to get to them, that at some point you have a paper trail that you tried to get to them. They found you during the campaign. They have a right to answer you now.
No.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Miss Sabrina and Cayman. I'm doing good. I'm calling because I want to say a few things, but I'm going to say I'm going to say this before I start. I hope that everyone is enjoying this nice Christmas.
I'm loving it.
breezes
I'm loving it.
and little rain showers, and the waves are huge down here in
Oh.
West Bay, but they're beautiful to look at from a distance.
Yeah.
So
You shouldn't be bitten by
and the-
mosquitoes with all this wind.
no, it's none of those. But this, I hope this is bringing back a lot of memories, just like
Yeah.
it does for me when
Yeah,
it happens.
it
of
did.
being
I
a
spoke
child
about it
growing up.
earlier. I spoke about it earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very Caymanian.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yes.
But I want to touch on what happened in the house today a little,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to say a few
I'm getting
things.
allergies.
I'm not going to be I'm not out of order or anything. I'm going to say what I see,
Mm-hmm.
how things look.
Yes.
I always, wherever I start the sitting of the House, the Parliament, I watch it and then I go back and I rewatch it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I do it. I caught it when Mr. Anglin was saying, giving his address, and I sat and I listened and I said, what kind of madness is PPM coming up here with now? Because this is how I see things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We had, and I'm not afraid to tell anyone, I have voted for PPM before. I voted for other people before, and we all have, because we somehow we as Caymanians, and a lot of people don't like to speak what they should as a Caymanian. And I keep telling people that would listen, that you have a voice, and your voice is your biggest asset to you
Mm-hmm.
as a human being, and you have a voice with your vote, whether you vote or you don't want to, whether you want to see change now or you want to see change before it happens. You have a choice whether you vote. But like you rightly said, they knew you then during election, and they have to know you now,
Mm-hmm.
because people must always remember 4 years goes along very quickly
Mm-hmm.
if you're still around. And I think the the bar has been set high this time because the people spoke. And I keep saying that those of us who chose to exercise our democratic right to vote voted in this election. Those who didn't,
Mm-hmm.
didn't, because they had their reasons too.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no right and there is no wrong, because we all are voters.
You just
We
have to
a
respect your choice. Yes, yes.
And just like we respect one another
Mm-hmm.
as individuals, we have to respect one another's opinions as voters. And we have far too long allowed parties um, and the will of some, that I always say the last two governments didn't make it because there were too many um, chiefs, and no pile of Indians wanted to fall
Mm-hmm.
in. Or there were other forces at play that wanted to do what they wanted to do because they wanted to be where they wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes all about prestige and this and that. But I keep telling people, when you leave this earth, technically,
Mm-hmm. Caller, I think I'm losing you, or I've lost you.
you are still a Caymanian.
Okay, got you back.
Hello?
Yes, I got you now. I got you now. We lost you for a couple seconds. Hello, caller. Let me call the caller back. It's like the internet was buffering. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's slow with its poor service.
she
What
ain't
else can
flowing.
we say? No, she's not flowing. She's following Lime always, and they weren't very good.
Go ahead, my
Don't
love.
worry, they soon get sorted out. No, so I'm saying we have to leave something, but I'm going to say this: the PPM. I started listening to the leader of the opposition, Mr. Joey Hugh,
Mm-hmm.
and he is outlining things. And I'm going, okay. But how long have you been in government? How long has your party been in power? Why didn't you address some of the people's concerns from way back when? Because you got in from 2013. Now come on here, and you're wanting the now government that is for the people, because the people spoke and the people said enough bickering, enough of this madness. We are going down a road that there'll be nothing left in 10 years if we do not stop something and put in place things. No one is perfect in this country, but Caymanians, and I keep telling my Caymanians, you have a voice, use it.
Mm-hmm.
Speak what you need to say. Stop hiding behind the doors. You are from here, and that passport that everyone else is fighting to stay here to get, they're going to fight to get it. And here we are. We're down here not wanting to open our mouths. No. So everything that the PPM is now asking for, I'm going to ask that same question like it was asked in the government chat on the live broadcast of Parliament today.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't the PPM do some of these things? I mean, and then you want to come to this now government because the people have initiated their voices before the elections and said, you have to change. We need change, and we need it so that we are able to live, work, and enjoy the same spoils of these three islands that we all Caymanians love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not right for companies to come here and set up and don't want to employ Caymanians. We are no longer going to, people, Caymanians have to say, we are no longer going to put up with this madness about we stupid, we dumb. I had a white man down the road the other day call me, the same man that is causing problems down on a piece of property Mr. Dart owns, making his dogs who come pick it up. And I spoke to the man again. And the man called me stupid. And I'm like, we don't need these type of idiots here in our country. We need to sometimes open our mouth and say, you have come and found us here. This is home to us. And you need to learn to respect people. But I keep going back to all of this. If our education system is broken, if our justice system is broken, if our families are broken with single mothers and single fathers and children growing up, we have to try to help, because it starts from when the children are young. And they have to have that balance in their lives. Or we're just throwing money down. We're sending children to school to do what? We're building palaces of these schools for what? When, Mr. Anglin said it and it hit me like, oh my gosh. He said, there were all of these, he inherited the minister, and he said all of these, he went to the graduation of the high school, and he said, people are getting honored, but they're not Caymanians. They're foreigners. Why aren't we honoring our people? Why aren't we pushing education? I had a few Caymanian teachers, and let me tell you, along with the rest of my teachers from the Caribbean and the UK and Northern Ireland, I had good teachers all through primary school, middle school, high school, all up to my graduation. It's not, teachers are the most important role along with parents, because they spend the most time with our children. And, we have to make sure our children get the proper education. But I keep saying, where has the PPM been in all of these years that they refuse to address the voices of the voters, the people, and address the voices of the voters that say, hey, man, was broken 25 years ago. We should have started this. You want this government that is for the people, but people are hurting. Yes, we know people are hurting, but you can't go take revenue from something just because you want stamp duty or oil pipes off of the oil that is coming in on CUC, take it off of that. Who's that helping? Then we don't have, it's right. It doesn't take an accountant to solve this, Miss Sabrina or Cayman. Listen to me tonight. If we take the fuel surcharge off of the diesel and the gasoline, where is that money going to come from? Where? Are there submarines washing up here right now in this weather? Because let us all know we would love to collect some money from us. We have money trees, but they do not grow money. Common sense is what grows money. And it was rightly said again by the finance minister. Too busy, the governments of the past were too busy worrying about what? Bank balances and bank accounts. Who worry about the common Caymanian, the one that is hurting, the one that needs the help, because there are many of us. But we tend to forget that we are the voice. And I'm finally happy to say there is 11 members of parliament that have come together. I don't know how the PPM thought they were 7 and they could get the government. You would never have gotten a government for the people. Because what? We're almost 93,000 already. We're not far off of 100,000 that they wanted, right? So, I mean, when is the bar going to be saying enough is enough? So the Caymanian voters said enough was enough. I'm going to say this loud and clear tonight to all of 19 members of parliament. The 11 of the government, those who voted for you, those who did not vote for you, those who wanted change right now, and those who wanted to see the change first. We are the voters of this country. We have the say, we are the voice. And if the people of this country cannot live here, work here, and enjoy the spoils of every foreigner, whether they come to live amongst us or visit here, and respect Caymanians, our culture, our heritage, and our history. Everything above ground and everything below that surrounds the Caribbean Sea with our territorial waters. If you fail and you can't even do that for us, then I'm sorry. You have no place in my home, because I have been told many times before by persons who think that they are so privileged. You're not privileged in any way. We hold the privilege as the people of this country and these islands called Caymanians. We get to say now who we want to come here. We don't want no riffraff, this and ding and ding and this, and we don't want to hear all this foolishness no more. Because let me make this loud and clear to anyone who comes to visit these shores of the Cayman Islands. I welcome you, but if you come with your disrespect, you're going to hear from me. You can go back where you come from, because we don't need that. We don't need that mentality here. What we need is those of you that are here, realize you were given the gift of a lifetime to come and live and work amongst us. It is the gift of a lifetime. I said this to a visitor a couple of days ago. Name one country that what has been done here in the Cayman Islands. Name one country in one little dot on the map of this world map that has emulated what has been done in the Cayman Islands. No one can do it or say they have done it. So we are a gem to be protected for what is left, because we are what makes Cayman special. We, the Caymanians, and we need to pass on our history. We need to pass it on and keep learning it. Yes, I'm happy to see it's going to come back into the schools, because it should have never been taken. You know, but as for the PPM to come and want this high road about everything they want must be fixed in this time, let me say, PPM, listen, you and the government, the National Coalition for Caymanians, I applaud all 11 of you. But I will say this to all of you. You know the people are watching, and we want some genuine changes to this country. And it might be hard for some to accept, but rightfully so. This is home, sweet home, beloved Cayman, beloved Cayman Islands. And I keep telling everyone, you want to taste, just get a taste of it now, of what it is to learn what it is to be Caymanian. Step on one of those beautiful little 9 aircraft we have on the tarmac of Owen Roberts International Airport that come home here every night. And I'm going to end with this. God help the people of Jamaica, because the world has to help Jamaica rebuild, because it is beyond their capacity, okay? It could have been us. But you know what I am thankful for? All 9 of those little turtles on the tails or in the front of those aircraft now that sit there, standing, smiling. He's smiling at this third turtle. And I hope everyone knows the history of where it comes from. Miss Susie Soto created it. She sold it to the Department of Tourism of the Cayman Islands for $1. Read on her history. She's still alive. She owned the Cry Conch restaurant. History. We have to grab it. But those 9 aircraft, when you see one of those anywhere, wherever they fly, you smile and you go, that's Caymanian. So I say, experience that little taste first, and hopefully no hands peddling in the people's business now, because this is the people's government, okay? Not the developers or not the this and the that, because the environment has to be protected, because there's going to be nothing left here in 10 years. And if you think global warming isn't real, let me give you one last little bit of it, and I'll leave you there. It is sad to see what temperature can do, what carbon and every other monoxide and every other diesel, gas, whatever chemical, that it causes pollution. It strips the ozone layers of the earth. And this is how the earth rebels. I call it a rebellion of the atmosphere. A hurricane was brewing here almost 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And look at what we have here now. You can call this our little tropical storm for the year. But look at what the seas were calm 2 days ago. They're 10 feet out there now. So I look at it, that could have been us over in Jamaica, but the weather phenomenon the atmosphere didn't dictate it that way. So we should be grateful here tonight as Caymanians that we have what we have, and that we finally seem to have a set of Caymanians that genuinely, from what I have been hearing, have put their differences aside and said the will of the people has to be started at some point and some time. Because if we don't, we're not going to be here. And we are going to make some angry at us. And some might very well leave and don't want to come back. But like I keep telling every Caymanian, this is home to us. This is home no matter where we are. I have a friend, and I'll tell you how far. And they lived here almost 30 years ago and gone back home to Ireland. And they go walking in the morning time for exercise. And they have, their words is, I can't wait for Sandra and the Cold Hard Truth to come on to hear what's going on in Cayman. Because some people genuinely, even though they have left these shores, they still love us. But we need people that are going to uplift our Caymanian people to come here. And yes, we'll make you stay for a while, but this is not your home. But if you so choose to do it, make sure you respect everything that is Caymanian. Because you, just like us Caymanians, have been given a gift of a lifetime. We got a gift of a lifetime to call these 3 little dots on the map home. And you get to come and visit us here. So respect us and get to know us, because we are nice people. But like the people's feathers were ruffled because they wanted change, they ruffled it the only way they knew how to ruffle it. And they went to the populace who was running for government and said, "I better start listening to what we say, because change has to come." So I hope and I pray that nobody meddles into the people's business, because it is rightfully so the people's business that has been neglected in these islands. And we can just look around and see the amount of development and see how Caymanians have not prospered in their own country, but others have. So Cayman, yes, the breeze is Christmas breeze, but the vehicles can go very fast. As I always say, don't drink and drive, don't drive and drink. If you're going to call a taxi or a designated driver, otherwise stay home and do it at your house. Keep the roads safe, abide by the road rules. Remember, pedestrians have a right of way too. Even if they're not wearing helmets, you should be able to see them, just like they can see you. So slow down, because the very life you save might be your own. And Cayman, listen, give thanks where thanks is due, because we have a lot still to be grateful and thankful for. These are 3 little gems on a map called the world. And the world wants to come here to call it home. Okay? Just look at their mother nationalities, 100 and something. And there you have that for the night. So CPM, leave the government alone, ask your questions to the government, do the will of the people. We don't expect everything working no magic wand, because I tell anyone, if they can get out there and part that Caribbean Sea like Moses did, when it was commanded and it was done by Jesus, then there you go. Nobody can go out there and part that sea. So we must learn to respect what we were given But people coming here also need to learn to respect us, because rightfully so, when we go to someone else's country, there are very few Caymanians that carry on. Okay? So we don't want nobody coming here carrying on with their madness, because we're not going to your country carrying on with your madness. So you have to understand that we have to live here, or you might just come here to work for a while and leave. But you must learn to respect us, because we respect you. Because respect is earned. We bought it in a supermarket, and common sense, the good God Almighty, we're born with a little bit of each. We need to learn to put it to good use. So good night, Cayman. I hope that people will watch and learn how your government works, because it's an amazing sight to see.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, I'm glad to happy to see there ain't no arguing and no bickering. There might be some little like name calling and stuff, but when the will of the people is put front, center, and on display for the world to see it, I'm grateful to say I enjoy watching the government of
There
the
we
Cayman
go.
Islands right
There we
now.
go.
So thank you.
Thank
I said a
you.
lot, but it's, we got to speak up.
Yep.
We just can't make people walk all over us for the rest of our lives, and we have to be our own voice, and with our own voices, you see what came together with those that did vote.
Correct.
They got the government. We're praying for the people.
Yep.
So thank you and
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you.
And
Good night. Have a good evening.
I'll send you a video and a couple of pictures of the sea bike here in Barker.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the 8 to 10 foot wave. But have a good
Beautiful.
night.
Thank
Good night,
you.
Cayman. You're
Likewise.
welcome.
Thanks.
Bye, Mr. Sabrina.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go. So we want to thank that caller for their contribution this evening. It's taken us a little into overtime. But Miss Barbara had a question here, and I think people will understand why. To many of you, you may think it's boring, but that is why I just thought it was good to break down exactly what I started. And for those of you who are just joining us, this was an open mic segment today, but I had to find content in order to pretty much deliver to you. And this is why I thought it was important for me to actually bring and deliver how it works. Even though for some of you it may seem repetitive, it just makes sense. And when you hear callers like the last caller that make those type of statements, that if you understand what you're watching, what you're hearing, it makes what is playing out on the floor of Parliament make sense. But you have to invest in yourself. I can bring certain topics here from a more educational layman standpoint. But then when you put it together is really just challenging yourself to go back and look at the Parliament proceedings as they happen. And hopefully if there are any questions that you may have, like Ms. Barbara G has a question, we can air it here. If I don't know the answer, I can definitely go and research it for you, which I'd have to do with this one, but I can give you an idea. And the question Ms. Barbara had posed was, question for you, do we have a disaster recovery insurance as they did in Jamaica? The one that you're speaking about, Ms. Barbara, is the one where it was based on a barometric pressure. Like if the barometric pressure dropped to a certain level, that would trigger a certain payout. And based on what I heard, the Honorable Premier applauding or making mention, and I stand to be corrected, it was either him or both he and Honorable Ralston Anglin that said that was good that they had that. But just based on how they were talking about that, I didn't get that we have anything of that nature here. So yeah, that specific policy that you're speaking about, Ms. Barbara, is the one that determined how low the pressure of that hurricane would have had to go in order for it to trigger a payout. And it didn't only meet that threshold, it blew it out of the water, hence that insurance company now having to pay that out. And Jasaria, for the last caller, said to give that caller a kaboom. I'm not so sure what, but I'll still definitely honor your request, Jasaria. And Miss Barbara G says, we did not have all Indians, no chiefs. We had all want to be chiefs and no loyalty. And then the real Michelle is saying, Cayman may have no income tax, but the cost of living is surely outweighs what other countries steal from their citizens is income tax. Caymanians are foolish for not seeing the true problem of division. Well said. And the real Michelle continues saying, the issue is not who. There are always bad actors, but what? And the what is money over people. Until that changes, nothing changes. There you go. So we have pretty much highlighted all of your comments. Thank you so much for your participation. But as we bring today's episode of Sabrina Speaks to a close, let's remember that democracy, is not all about debates in Parliament. And that, it's also about the voices of the people. And you're hearing the last caller talk about the cool breezes, and I can't wait to see those pictures, actually. The voices of the people carry on with these cool northwester breezes that we're actually feeling, that reminds us of the season of change and renewal. Yes, just as those breezes refresh our islands, so too can open dialogue and accountability refresh our democracy. And I want you to remember this. I found this today. Wishing you all a happy Tuesday. Don't let anyone steal your joy today. And that leads into the night. While the serious matters of governance continue, life here in the Cayman Islands is also about community, culture, and togetherness. And that's why we look forward to the District Day celebrations that I encourage you all to make sure you go out and you support. Because moments where we gather not as government or opposition, but as one people sharing food, music, and stories under the same sky. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends of Sabrina Speaks, let us carry hope with us. Hope that our leaders will listen. Hope that our environment will be protected. And hope that our communities will thrive. Because with the northwester winds at our backs and the joy of the district days ahead, Cayman's future can be both prosperous and sustainable. This has been another episode of Sabrina Speaks. It has been my pleasure being here with you on this beautiful Thursday, cool Tuesday evening, right here on CMRTV.com. Until tomorrow, have a safe and fabulous Tuesday evening. God bless. Love you lots. Until tomorrow.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.